Capital Views is sponsored by Northrim Bank, Alaska Oil and Gas Association, ConocoPhillips, and Linden.
Hi, I'm Tim Bradner with Alaska Legislative Digest, and welcome to Capital Views. And a special welcome today to Jillian Simpson, Executive Director of ATIA. That's the Alaska Travel Industry Association. Jillian, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here with you.
Jillian, ATIA is pretty well known for its tourism marketing. Maybe you could just tell us a quick, what is the organization? What do you do? What's the funding budget situation look like? So how are things doing?
Sure. Thanks, Tim, for the question. ATIA is the statewide trade association representing over 640 tourism businesses across the states. We're a private nonprofit corporation, but we actually partner with the state of Alaska to be the official destination marketing organization for Alaska. So we're pretty unique. Other states don't have this model. But 25 years ago, the state of Alaska thought that it was great to form a public-private partnership to really leverage the expertise of the industry, those who are closest to the consumer, and marketing to them to drive demand, to bring more visitors to the state.
And Julia, as I understand it, there's some state funding involved, but also private sector contribution.
Yes, that's totally correct. So all of our trade association activities are all funded through membership dues, but then the state of Alaska does give ATIA a grant every year. It's a reinvestment of funds that the industry generates for the state, and that reinvestment is partnered with or joined together with industry contributions of those businesses that are leveraging the program through our cooperative marketing opportunities. And together, those two funds of money put together the entire marketing program that we conduct annually.
Jillian, how much outreach do you have? What's the budget?
This year, we are operating on a smaller budget. It's $2.5 million, which is one of the lower amounts that we've had from the state, paired with industry contributions. It's just over a $3 million investment that we're doing primarily in the U.S. market. There's a little bit that we do overseas, in particular in German-speaking Europe, to support those over-the-pole flights, as well as those amazing German travelers who travel here for a long time and spend a lot of money while they're here.
Well, how do we stack up with other states? I think I heard you in a presentation mention that we're about the same as Delaware.
We are, yeah, we have the same marketing budget as that tiny little state. So it's a very competitive marketplace. Other states are investing $22 million on average annually. So we are in a competitive disadvantage, but I would say that we are very scrappy and we are extremely efficient and effective with the dollars that we do have. We have a great ROI on the advertising and public relations spend that we put into the marketplace. And so we do have an effective track record of driving visitation here.
And we have a pretty good brand to sell too. Other states don't have the sort of scenery and vast open spaces that Alaska has.
That is so true. I think sort of our marketing pillars are glaciers, mountains, wildlife, the aurora, and of course, Alaska Native culture, which nobody else has. And so those really are huge motivators for people to come here and choose Alaska. And winter continues to also be a growing time of year for people to travel. And I think as you see the lower 48 continue to be really hot in the summertime, Alaska becomes a very attractive place for respite for people to vacation here too.
People come here for the cool. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a coolcation.
Jillian, one of the in presentations you've made that I've heard, you mentioned cultural tourism and promotion of indigenous cultures is now an important part of ATIA's marketing. Maybe you could speak to that for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I think consumers are just looking for a very authentic and immersive experience when they travel. They really want to get to know the local cultures of the destinations they are visiting, and really, that's what tourism is all about: is the people who are welcoming them to their communities, but also those that are traveling. And so, a cultural exchange happens. And so, cultural tourism in Alaska has become hugely important. Not only because that's what visitors are looking for, but because there's been a lot of investment that is also being made by different Alaska Native corporations, as well as different tribes who are really seeing the economic benefits of leaning into tourism and the positive benefits it can bring to their shareholders and their communities.
But this is interesting because we have now several Alaska Native corporations that are investing directly in port projects and destinations. Maybe you could mention a few of those and kind of what's new in that area.
Yeah, I think Hunam Tonem Corporation definitely took the lead on that 20 plus years ago and have expanded their offerings now with what they're how they've partnered with Kloak and the new dock there. But also they were investors in building the dock in Whittier. So there's now two docks in Whittier, so we can support more ships coming across the Gulf of Alaska. And I think that's what's really exciting for this coming year, because we definitely will have more cruise ships sailing across the Gulf, and that gives those cruise passengers the opportunity to experience South Central and interior regions of Alaska and beyond.
So cruise across Gulf cruise ships are expanding, and this feeds more people into South Central Alaska.
Yes, that's
Denali
correct.
Park, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And certainly all of them are in Southeast Alaska, which is great for those coastal community economies. And a lot of them are round trip cruises, but those that are crossing the Gulf do have an increased economic impact in the state just because they're able to travel around longer and spread their dollars further.
Which what everybody's wondering is what does 2026 look like?
We're
What,
not sure yet. There's a lot of things happening in the economy right now. Some, uncertainty, but also some good things with the tax refund. We've also been tracking closely. There's been a reduction in international travel to the United States, but Alaska doesn't seem to be as impacted by all of that. We're a little bit isolated just because of the type of destination we are. We're already viewed as a exotic long haul destination on our own. And so we're kind of keeping an eye out. We're hearing different things from different members, and we are trying to be cautiously optimistic for the coming season.
in your presentation that I heard recently, you mentioned Canadian tourism is down to the U.S. Um, in particular, but Alaska's not so bad.
Yeah, that's correct. So Canadian tourism is down about 22%, that cross-border traffic to the United States. But Visit Anchorage did an airport survey last summer, and it showed that our Canadian visitation was down from 22% of international visitors down to 20%. So not as hugely impacted at all. And I think it's because we have a lot in common, and again, Alaska's viewed a little bit differently, which works to our advantage. We're kind of a standalone destination, I think.
Well, it's good to know our Canadian neighbors still like us.
Yeah, that's true. They're so nice.
Well, Jillian, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking more in the future. So, Jillian Simpson, thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Tim.